She knew she was the mistress and liked it. Might I remind you guys, they met on Tinder. Actually, I was just being silly. I don't care about no stars because you're my star. Was that cheesy?
Yeah.
I am so sorry. I think I am the a-hole here because... Hey guys, it is another fall episode. So today we're going to be diving into a whole slew of Reddit stories, specifically Am I the A-hole ones. Now, if you haven't heard of this type of story before, it's basically stories from the internet and people submitting stories from their own lives or from their family members and friends and asking the internet and asking us to help them judge whether or not they're in the wrong or not, or what advice we can give them. So today we're going to enjoy, we're going to laugh a little, maybe have some heartwarming or heartbreaking moments. And our theme for today is honesty the best policy, or are some things best left unsaid? So I got some good ones for you guys. Now, our first story is a little bit leaning more into spooky season. I don't know if you guys are into the supernatural or you love movies like that, but story one is all about horoscopes. I can feel some eye rolls, and then I can also feel some excitement from some of you guys already. So let's get into it. So our first story is from the subreddit, Am I Overreacting? Am I overreacting? My boyfriend broke up with me over horoscopes. My first impression thinking of this title is this one of those, did OP kind of take out a love calculator? I don't know if you guys have ever seen those. I remember in middle school, kids would do that. They would put their name and then they put the name of their crush, and then you kind of like put their date of birth or something. And then it's supposed to tell you, oh, if you're an Aries, you're going to be really compatible with the Scorpio or something. So I am debating how far OP goes with her horoscopes. Let's see. OP says, I, 23-year-old female, have been dating a new guy, 30-year-old male, for just over 2 months. We met on Tinder, and after the absolute trash on the dating scene I've been through over the last few years, I've been counting my lucky stars to find him. I don't know if that's an intentional pun, but OP's counting her lucky stars, and this story is all about horoscopes. So I don't know if that's intentional, but if so, that's a good pun, OP. She says he's confident, protective, emotionally open, completely my type physically, blonde, blue-eyed, bearded, athletic build, and has a British accent, which is superficial, but I find hot. He's even politically liberal, which said to me that his values are good. The relationship has gone really well so far. We had great conversations by text. He then took me to a nice restaurant for our first date, which was a pleasant surprise, and we had a really good chemistry. I broke my rule of waiting a month to sleep with a guy, and it was really good. The day after, he said he doesn't really believe in dating multiple people at once and asked to make it exclusive. I said yes, obviously, and played it cool on the phone, but ran around screaming with my roommate afterwards, lol. We've been seeing each other 2 or 3 times a week. My friends all like him, and I was planning on him meeting my family this weekend. Oh, this started out very surprisingly wholesome. I mean, it sounds like a match made in heaven. Totally her type. I love the descriptions, OP. He sounds hot. Sounds hot. Good for you, OP. Now, usually I would be a little bit concerned on the red flag from the other person because they're moving fast. They're together. She waited a month. They've slept together. They're exclusive. And then they went straight to friend's introduction. And now she wants to introduce her family, which I think is a pretty big deal if you want to introduce someone you're dating to your family. So let's see where it goes wrong. OP says, anyway, we were hanging out at my apartment yesterday and I asked him about his birthday. I'm kind of into astrology and I've started fantasizing about our lives together. So wanted to check our compatibility. I asked him the day and the time, and he raised his eyebrows and asked, why? So I said, I just want to check what our birth charts would say about us. He then asked me if I really believed in that stuff. And I said, yes. He then went quiet for a bit and said, I don't think this is going to work out. He then started putting on his shirt to leave. I can't really remember what I said next, but I started panicking. I said we didn't need to do it and we could forget all about it. But he kept saying that we weren't a good match. It just all seemed so stupid to me. And I kept asking him why it mattered so much. He said that there was, quote, too much unreason in this country and I don't need more in my life. He then just left and isn't picking up his phone since. I'm still in a state of shock, to be honest. I've been in breaking out and tears randomly today and had to leave work early. It just seems to me like a crazy overreaction. I said I didn't expect him to care about horoscopes. It was just something I enjoyed, but he said it spoke to how I thought about things and my critical thinking, which upset me. I don't know what to do next. Am I overreacting? Um, okay. From one girl to another. OP. Okay, I am on the fence because on one side, things are going so well for them that it does seem a little bit silly that the minute she asked him, "Oh, what's your horoscope?" he kind of freaks out and literally leaves. But on the other side, I see the guy's perspective too. If he's more of a logical thinker type of guy and he doesn't really believe in horoscopes, he's not into that. For him, I don't think it's the fact that she just believes in a horoscope. It's the fact that if she's checking their compatibility to gauge about where they are in the relationship, maybe he's like, are you going to use some sort of, to be honest, pseudoscience to gauge our compatibility, to gauge and make decisions about our relationship? So I kind of see that too. I'm on the fence. It's fair for him. He can leave if he chooses, right? If he realizes that this is a deal breaker. I'm kind of devastated for OP at the same time, though. Girl, why do the horoscopes matter if you're just so into the guy? Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys believe in horoscopes? Be honest. So I know some people are super duper into it. For me, this is going to sound silly. I know they're not based on science or anything. I just like to I like to read them for fun. And then if it says something like, "Oh, today's your lucky day," I like to kind of embody that. I like to think, "Oh, cool. It'd be nice if today's my lucky day." But I don't genuinely make decisions based off of horoscopes. You know? Does that make sense? Like I choose to selectively only believe in happy, nice things just because it's a nice thought. Does that make me a fake believer? Maybe a little bit. I don't know. What do you think?
Uh,
Is OP overreacting?
Need to tread carefully here.
So if I told you right now, I checked our horoscope compatibility and it says that we are not compatible, would that
Right.
change your mind about our relationship in any way?
I would say no, but if you honestly said, "Yeah, I truly believe this," and
Oh, like I believed
yeah,
it.
you truly believe
Okay.
this, and I don't know what the action would be because you can't really do much about it, right?
Let me
That's
go
what it
and
says.
change the day and time I was born now so that we are now
Um,
compatible.
I mean, to me, that would be out of nowhere because I don't expect you to think that way. It goes beyond just horoscopes, right? I mean, it kind of shows that you can have a strong opinion, strong belief on something that is not necessarily science, which is, I guess, okay, but
Yeah.
to some extent is, I don't know, what else do you believe in that is, I'm gonna go off and say it's not proven, probably not scientific based, right?
Yeah. See, for me, I wonder to what extent because OP's saying that she isn't really even into the horoscopes like that. She kind of asked and she feels stupid for asking now and saying it now in hindsight. I think for him, he took it literally. Like he really thought that she was straight up asking, "Hey, I need to know our compatibility based on horoscopes now, based on our star signs." I don't think she overreacted. I also don't think, I guess thinking about, I don't think he overreacted. I think he was just very logical about it, very mature about it, to be honest. He didn't make a fuss. He didn't try to change her mind. He was just like, "Oh, I don't think this is going to work." And then just like, whoop. Although it is the first time for me hearing and seeing that horoscopes are breaking a couple up. Let's look at the comments. First one from Red Hot Bumblebee. Info: if the birth chart said you were incompatible, would you have stayed with him? Ooh, that's a good question. See, mm, if OP says, so OP doesn't reply to this, but if OP were to make a decision based on whatever results she found, then I would say she kind of, it's kind of like consequences of your own actions type of thing. But if she's just doing it for funsies and just saying, oh, just wanted to see, just wanted to check it out casually, then I think maybe there's hope for the relationship to still be alive, to be revived, I guess.
See, but I don't think she is doing that.
You don't think it's for fun? You think she was kind of serious?
It seems like it because she said she does believe in it. So if you believe in it, then whatever the result is, then you're gonna base off your decision on that. If you actually believe in it.
I know some people like to check, you know how I guess in my culture, for example, when people get married, a lot of couples will actually check for an auspicious day, like a good date to get wedded, literally. Like they'll check a calendar. I don't exactly know who determines what day is good and what day is bad. I think some people go to an actual expert, whoever the expert is, and then some people check like the calendar to see. I can see you making faces. What days are like most, lucky for the wedded couple? I mean, I think I would check for us. I would check just for funds, like, oh, what's a cool day? What's a lucky day? It doesn't hurt. But I wouldn't change my mind on a date if we already decide a wedding date and then according to a calendar or whatever, it said, no, 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 this is not a good luck day. You
Yeah.
know?
The-
It's kind of like a fun add-on, but I wouldn't think to make decisions based on it.
you can believe whatever you want to believe, and at the same time, uh, that is okay. And I think there's just huge difference between the two people, right? One chooses or one believes in those things, and one does not.
Right.
And for someone, that might be a deal breaker. And I
Yeah.
think for the guy there, in that case, I think it's a deal breaker.
Oh, I kind of feel bad because it sounded like such a fairy tale, like such a perfect. And might I remind you guys, they met on Tinder, which is, to be honest, not usually the beginning of many romantic, long term relationships that I think of with the stereotype around Tinder. So, oh, so let's see another comment from Chickadee1901. Keep in mind, this is a 2-month long relationship. That's not very long. Although it sounds like he did really like you, it sounds like you were almost obsessed with him after the first date. At 2 months, you're still learning about each other and the relationship. Maybe he should have talked to you more about his concerns before leaving, but it's also perfectly okay for someone to decide that your belief system isn't compatible for them. There are many people who believe in astrology and take it incredibly seriously to the point that it may cause tension with the people around them who don't believe the same thing. Perhaps he has an experience with this and has decided that this is a deal breaker in his partner. You may not have explained your belief well enough, and he might not have given you much of a chance, but either way, you cannot force someone to stay with you if they don't want to. It's probably best to move on. I'm sorry that this must really hurt, as you really wanted to be with him, but unless he wants to work out the issue and be with you, there's nothing you can do. So this comment pretty much says what you were saying. You can't, if there's a mismatch of belief, even if it's literally just horoscopes and astrology, you can't really force it. I like it. I think this comment is super reasonable. Although I forgot that they only met for 2 months. So I wonder if he is as heads over heels in love as she is, because she's ready to pull all the stops, do the family introductions, fantasize about getting married, all of that. Or a future together. She didn't say marriage, but she said future together. So there is an update with the story. Do you think it's going to be a positive, happy update, or are you doubtful?
I think if the OP says that, I don't know. If the my guess is if OP says that she truly believes in horoscopes, then I don't think it's going to be a positive outcome. But if she
If she maybe takes a step back
take a step
from it.
back, but well, I would hope that she's being honest about it and actually takes a
Yeah.
step back and she just came off differently, then I think there's a chance. I think otherwise, then there's no chance, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm glad that it seems like, well, besides the whole horoscope thing, I I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful, sorry. I am okay, my guess is that maybe she's gonna somehow, I'm thinking they're gonna notebook this, she's gonna run to his workplace or something, show a grand romantic gesture, and then say, babe, actually, I was just being silly. I don't care about no stars because you're my star. Was that cheesy?
Yeah.
Get it? But I think I can see it. For some weird reason, I'm envisioning this with her standing in the rain. The rain is completely unnecessary in this scenario. But I I just want them to work out. Let's see. So, update from OP. She says, so I read every comment in the last post, which seemed to be about half saying my ex was in the right, a quarter saying he was being ridiculous, and a quarter insulting me in different ways. Honestly, that sounds about right. I feel like that sounds like a very normal reaction in the Reddit comments. She says, anyway, I didn't realize so many people hated astrology, and it seemed like everyone thought people who liked astrology either just thought it was fun or were full on devotees. Devotees? Devotees. I feel like I said that weirdly. Devotees. I guess I never really thought about how much I actually believed in it and was sort of in the middle, if that makes sense. Like I did it for fun and thought about my life from what the horoscopes told me, but I would pick and choose to believe depending on whether I liked the answer. Anyway, I read a lot of the links and watched the videos people sent, and it gave me food for thought. I get now that it's not scientific at all. But what most got to me is how people said that they were being judged by something they couldn't control. And so it's just like how it's discrimination based on race or sexuality or whatever. I'd never really thought about things like that, and it does reduce the appeal. That isn't what I'm about at all. Oh, okay. Oh, so, okay, good thing. OP isn't a full on devotee, which is good. I think she's one of the cases where, you know how I feel like there are some things that we believe because the people around us believe it, or we're used to seeing it, so it becomes mainstream. And we don't really stop to think whether, wait, is that what I really think? Is that what I really believe? And it feels like OP is in that. Like she follows the crowd into kind of what astrology is, but she never kind of stopped to think, wait a second, why do I believe astrology? Is that what I'm all about? So, really glad that she went and did the research and confirmed she is not completely into the astrology stuff, or at least she won't make every single decision based on it. Now, she continues. Anyway, I resisted the temptation to immediately text him and decide I would give it 5 days. I know people said I'm really obsessive, but I'm honestly not that bad, and I haven't been with a guy I've liked this much before. It's more about his personality than his looks. Side-eyeing you a little bit. I mean, it's okay. Just admit it, OP. I know. He's hot and he has a hot personality. She says, he's just so calm and quietly confident. Even when he broke up with me, he didn't seem aggravated or emotional. He just told me what he thought, listened to my ramblings, calmly responded, and then left. I found it very funny that people called him Brit Bro in the last thread, and now all my friends are calling him that. Oh, I like that nickname. Is it because his British accent? The Brit Bro. She says, so I texted him and did my best to be non-clingy. I said I wasn't pushing for anything, but just wanted him to know that I really gave the wrong impression of how much I was into astrology. That it's just a silly thing I was into and it doesn't matter to me and doesn't represent who I am. I said I could easily drop it if it bothered my partner. Then I said if the window was open, I'd appreciate talking to him again. But if not, I wish him the best for the future. He called me back 5 minutes later and was friendly. He asked how I was and I said I was good, but he could probably hear I was a little choked up in my voice. He said he hoped he didn't hurt me, but knows what he wants from life and that he wants someone who believes in reason and evidence. He said so many people seem to easily believe nonsense like being anti-vax or that immigrants eat cats, and that it was bad enough we might have to deal with a president like that. So he didn't want to deal with it in a partner. I assured him I wasn't like that and said I liked how intelligent and level-headed he was and wanted to be more like him myself. We then just talked for a bit and it seemed nice, so I asked if I could see him again. He said yes, but that he wanted to be transparent that since we broke up, he has other dates planned, which kind of broke me. But we agreed to meet for dinner next week, so I'm still hopeful. Oh, I mean, okay, this is a lot. Like, usually Reddit stories are full on chaos in your face, throw up, crazy vomit drama type of thing. But here, I feel a ray of hope. I see it. I am rooting for OP and Brit Bro. This is just so mature how they approached it. OP calmly explained to him and he heard her out and he's interested in seeing or continuing exploring the potential of a relationship. Ugh, I really hope it works out for them. What do you think? Do you think it worked out?
I have my
It's gonna
doubts.
work out? Why?
Just seems that I think the initial interaction between OP and Bread Bro most likely ended things for him, it seems.
The initial spark. Oh. But I know it's up to Brit Bro on whether or not he's willing to continue it. But it just seemed like they were there. They were like the couple. They were that's such a cute story. I really am rooting for them. Although one thing I'll tell OP is it's nice that she's kind of reflecting. She's changing her stance on the astrology thing and explaining it, which is fine. And she's not pressuring him, although she's devastated. She's not pressuring him to kind of full on be back into the exclusive relationship that they had. But I would say to OP, your clinginess was not the issue here. Your obsessiveness, quote unquote, I'm quoting it because some of the people in the comments apparently said that OP was obsessive. I don't think so. Sometimes if you are really into a person, let them know. Shout out from the rooftops. Well, okay, not literally, but show them. Don't love bomb them, but show them, you know? Don't be afraid to be clingy. Like coming from one clingy gal to another. Embrace your freaky clinginess. If the other person's receptive, that's the only time it's okay. I'm really wishing the best for you, OP. Let's see. First comment, Capable Fish 178 says, I'm glad you've been able to reconnect and I hope everything works out for you both. OP says, I am still very nervous. ... Oh. I guess I do agree with you. I feel like I get the vibe from Brit Bro that he's already, that for him was like a hard stop, like a turn off right away. So I feel like there's a potential that it is over. But I am so hopeful that the ray of light is still there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And you can kind of see why I thought there was a supernatural-ish element to the story. So very fitting with October season or upcoming October season and fall spooky season. And if you guys enjoyed this first story, don't forget, hit the like button and hit subscribe, guys. Help us get to 3K. All right, now time for our second story. Second one is our wild pick. Now, if you guys, this is your first episode tuning in with me for story time, wild pick is just that. A story that stood out to me, usually for a silly or chaotic reason, and I wanted you guys to hear it. So this is the wild pick. It's from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling my sister her baby's name sounds like a dog's name, and now she won't talk to me? His name Fido. Please don't tell me that your sister named her kid Fido. Okay, I was not aware until I was introduced to Am I the A-hole subreddits and all these threads that baby names are a very controversial topic. Like it is a big taboo. It causes fights. It causes dramas in families. People break up relationships over this. I was not aware how deeply entrenched this whole baby name drama is. But apparently it is. Now, here's my philosophy. It's your kid, your baby. You name your kid whatever the heck you want to name the kid. However, actions have consequences. And one thing that I hope that parents would be mindful of is social context around names. Because if you give your kid an embarrassing name or a really, really weird name or a horribly complicated name, one, poor kid is going to be struggling spelling that. And just be ready for every single person to mess up their name spelling at least once, right? Two, if it's an embarrassing name, I am already crying for your children in their preschool, middle school, elementary school years because kids can be brutal. So name your kid whatever you want. However, my suggestion is please veer on the path of maybe not too crazy with the names or nothing too embarrassing or controversial. Like I know some people name their kids after very controversial political figures. And I don't get it. To be honest, I don't get it. But to each their own. What is your perspective on baby names?
I think there are consequences, especially if you name your kid after a controversial public figure, as you mentioned.
Oh, imagine the kid Googles their name when they're like just growing up, and then you see all these horrible things about some sort of controversial figure.
In terms of what you mentioned about kids making fun of it, I think kids will make fun of any name you can think of if they want. Yeah,
I think some more than others.
Yeah, but literally any name they're gonna make.
Okay, what if it's if the person was a girl They're elementary school, and their name was Fido. You can't tell me that that name won't be more like ridiculed than say like a Mary or like a Jane
Yeah, for sure.
or
But
it's their typical name.
kids, but I'll always saying that because they want to make fun of you, they're gonna make fun of you for whatever reason.
So you think any name should fly? Any name's
I don't.
okay.
I'm not saying any name should fly. I think some names are more
Yeah,
normal than other names.
that's
That's all.
true. Well, okay, here's a really fun fact, random fun fact about baby names, guys. So I don't know if you've ever watched Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was like, wait, 8 season, really good show. Terrible, terrible ending. I highly recommend just watching to season 7 and just pretending the last season did not exist, at least for me as a personal fan. That's my perspective. But so one of the main characters' name was like Daenerys, and I think Arya and Sansa. So I think Arya and Daenerys were like the most popular girl names for like a while during the show's running time or running seasons. And so I'm very curious how many Daeneryses and Aryas there are because Daenerys is not an easy spelling, but very pretty name. So random quip I remembered about Game of Thrones. Okay, let's see what the name is. My bet is Fido, but comment below if you have a guess as to what the sister named her baby's name because apparently it sounds like a dog's name. So my guess being Fido. OP says, my sister had a baby. I'm happy for her. Her baby's name is Ruff. It's Ruff. It sounds like a dog. I am so sorry. There is no way. Is this a fake story? I'm sorry. Usually I always believe in the storytellers because look, one, most likely, usually it's someone who needs help. And two, at least one other person in the world has experienced the same story out there. But be serious. Your sister did not name her baby Ruff, like, and it's spelled Ruff, like they sound a dog makes. See, I'm wondering if this is where one of you guys listening in will comment and tell me, no, 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 no. That's such an American thing to say. Ruff is actually a beautiful name in some other culture or some other country. I'm hoping you guys will correct me on that. But right now, it just sounds like a dog. And OP says, it's Ruff. It sounds like a dog. I thought she was joking and laughed. I was wrong. She asked me why I was laughing. I said, it sounded like a dog barking. Ruff, Ruff. I thought we were laughing, but she got mad. She was angry. She said I was being disrespectful and that the name had meaning to her and her husband. They love an obscure video game character. I told her that she can name her child whatever she wants, but people will associate it. But people will associate it, and it might be hard for him in school. She won't return my texts or calls. My mom says I should have kept my mouth shut. Am I the only one seeing this? I didn't mean to be a jerk, but Ruff? I can't be the only one thinking this could backfire. So I told my sister that her baby's name sounds like a dog's name. Is she overacting? See, I think I am the a-hole here because I had the same exact reaction as OP did. I laughed and then I thought it was a joke. And then OP and I are in the same boat. Girl, first off, okay, I don't think you're the a-hole. Well, I guess you are because you're laughing at her baby name. But be for real. I think it's good you're being honest with her. Because if not from you, her own sister, I swear you're not going to be the only one who has this reaction. I mean, I'm already person number 2 here. Do you think OP's the a-hole for laughing?
I don't know.
That's rough.
Yeah, it is rough.
It is rough.
It is definitely rough.
Get it? It's rough that her name's Ruff.
To me,
Okay,
yeah. To me personally, I can see why others would find it funny and would think it's dog related. I personally don't care that much, nor would I care. I don't think as a kid, but
That
I
your
just
name's
know
Ruff?
that other kids would care about it.
Ruff by itself, I can like it rolls off the tongue well. Like I think Ruff, Ruff, I think it could be a cool name. Like it could be a cool name, but it takes a cool kid to own it, if that makes sense. Like I think no matter what, because the name is a little bit more unusual, you're gonna have someone say something to this kid. And a consequence is if the sister is a parent, wants to put her kid through that and she thinks it'll be fine, then cool. I think, okay, OP in hindsight, yes, a little bit of an a-hole for laughing, but the reaction's kind of expected, if that makes sense. I think the sister's overreacting a little bit because now she's not returning texts, phone calls. She's basically icing OP out, her own sister out, for calling it what it is, right? Which is, okay, your name, where we live, in context of what we know, is going to be a little bit rough. Yes, that was an intended pun. But yes, I think it's silly. I don't think that sister should change her name. If she wants to keep that name, keep the name. You own it, do you? But I think it's fair for OP to have said what she said. Although I'm also very sorry and apologetic to OP's sister for laughing. I guess I'm also a little bit of an a-hole here too. Let's see what the comments say. First comment from Open Resist 4740. That's rough, buddy. Quote from Prince Zuko, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Shame on you guys. The commenters are rough. I need to stop saying that. The commenters are already leaning into it. Another comment from I Am Irene. Not the a-hole. You gave an honest reaction to an absurd name. If she didn't like how you reacted, imagine how she'll like having to deal with all the school bullying coming this poor kid's way. I swear some people just don't think kids are not accessories. Another comment responding to this from Pearls First. As I always say, ask some fifth graders what they think of it. I mean, I actually think the name itself could be pretty cool. I think it's an unusual name, but I think it's kind of like, I think it's just cool. Like if someone said, hey, my name's Ruff, my first reaction is, okay, if it's a kid, I think it's funny. But if it's an adult coming to me and saying their name's Ruff, I'm like, oh, that's a cool name. How'd you get that? You know? So I feel like there's a cool element to it. But again, I do foresee people commenting on it and not just OP. So over a verdict, I don't think OP is a hard a-hole. I think light a-hole for laughing because it hurt your sister's feelings, but I don't think it's that deep. You gave an honest reaction to a very silly name, to be honest. What do you think? A-hole or no a-hole?
I think a bit.
Soft a-hole. Very soft. So there's no update, but I'm very curious on what happens next. If you guys end up seeing any updates to this one, let me know. Now, our third story is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for not defending my friend when my fiance was mean to her? I, 26-year-old male, have been engaged to my fiance, Zara? Ooh, this is a very unusual name. I'm going to go with Zaira. Or maybe Zara. No, Zaira, I think, with the spelling. So I, 26-year-old male, have been engaged to my fiance, Zaira, 26-year-old female, for 6 months now. We were friends in high school and only started dating when we were around 22. We were close in high school, we were in the same friend group, but drifted apart and reconnected in uni, so it's safe to say I do know her really well. She's a kind person most of the time. However, she knows how to cut people deep when the situation warrants it. I've witnessed it at times, and she can make people cry. So, one of my friend groups mostly consists of gamers. I don't hang out with them in person that much because I'm not very social and prefer spending time with my fiance. Even during calls, I'm mostly muted or don't talk, but I do enjoy their company. I guess I'm just shy. My friends know I have a fiance and they invited her out with us last night. There are girls in our friend group, like 2 of them and this other girl in our group, who can be a bit of a pick-me girl. I'll call her Emma. She gets along well with the rest of us, but sometimes she can be a bit annoying. Interesting. I'm surprised that OP here is giving context to the story and already calling out that there's a pick-me girl in his friend group. Like he's aware. Usually we see stories where one partner isn't completely aware or they're completely oblivious to the attitude or the undertones of social interactions with some of the girls in their group. So nice to see that he's already picking up on that. So OP says, so last night we all went out to dinner and the other 2 girls and my girl were getting along really well. They really hit it off until Emma joined us later in the evening. She started off making passive-aggressive backhanded comments to Zaira, who initially just rolled her eyes and laughed. But I told Emma to stop because I didn't want the night to end with someone crying. She took this as a joke, but stopped messing with Zaira for a while, and then she started up again. I think she was trying to make my fiance insecure or jealous or something, but Emma kept saying how close we are because we game. Zaira knows I'm not close with her because every time I play with them, she's either in my lap or right next to me watching me play. Emma told Zaira not to worry about her because she wasn't going to take me away from her. Zaria smiled at her, and I knew the night was over. She looked Emma up and down and said, "You? Take him from me? Good luck." Emma tried defending herself and brushed it off as a joke, but Zaira just kind of let loose, I guess. She called Emma a pathetic excuse of a woman and asked if she needs male validation that desperately or if she's actually deluded enough to think that she, Emma, is more important than her, Zaira, in my life, among other things. I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of think it's hot when she gets like this. So I just sat by and watched, and Emma started crying, and we left after. She said thank you to the rest of my friends. Ooh, Zaira's hot. I have to say, as a fellow girl, Zaira's aura points, she is. I love her. I can see why you're into her, OP. Can I just say, before I even get to the drama, Zaira is so cool. So she hangs out with you when you game, but she's also not afraid to speak up her mind. And she seems generally friendly and gets along well with your other friends. So Emma is definitely a pick me. I don't think there's any dispute about that. The way she's kind of passive aggressively making comments, trying to insert herself and make all of these seemingly harmless things appear a little bit more saucy than they are. Like the whole, oh, we're so close because we're gaming all the time and we're this and we're that. This is how I imagined when Zaire put this girl in her place. She's kind of like looking her up and down and just going, "You? Really? Like you're not even competition. You're not even on her level, Emma." I love it. I love it when a lady knows how to very in a classy way put people in their place. I love it. Also, I appreciate the fact that OP actually stepped up first towards Emma and said, "Hey, we're not like that. Can you stop making those comments or someone's going to cry?" Here's what I imagine how this went. When he said that, I bet you that Emma thought that he was alluding to, "Oh no, what if my fiance is going to start crying because Emma's going to hurt her feelings?" No, 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 no. OP was trying to save Emma from the tears. He was trying to save her the drama. He was saying, you don't want to start a fight you can't end. So I love that he stepped up first. And then they seemed kind of in tune with each other. Very well matched. Now, let's see what happens next. Obi says, "The girls in my group have been messaging me and saying I should have stopped Zaira and maybe not have let her be so rude, and Emma has gone radio silent. My other friends think Zaira is justified, and I do too. But did she take it too far, and should I have stopped her? Am I the a-hole?" I don't think so. So we have multiple instances where Emma instigated, and then Opie already told her to stop and chill. She stopped, and then she went at it again. There's only so much tolerance that you should give to these types of people. Because if you keep letting them push your dang boundaries, they're going to just think that, oh, let me just tiptoe, let me just skip over it, let me just sprint over at this point because it doesn't matter. You're not setting those boundaries, so I'm going to decide what it's going to be. I think Zaire put her in her place, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Because if she didn't, what is she supposed to do? Just tolerate the disrespect? Good for you. Kudos for you. I just want to give Zaira and OP a round of applause for how they handled this situation. For the girl saying, "Oh no, OP should have stopped your fiance. She's too mean, blah, 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 blah." So are you okay with that behavior too? I wouldn't trust the girls that are now trying to pressure OP and Zaira to apologize or to step back because it says a lot about what they're okay with too. I think the friends who think that they're justified, those are your real friends. So, your initial thoughts.
What's her name? The friend
Emma.
thing. Emma FAFO'd here.
She did. She kicked a hornet's nest.
I mean, yeah. I would say if the OP or anyone didn't warn her, I could maybe see that Zaira
overdid it.
Overdid it.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was harsh, but at the same time, I think it was somewhat justified.
Same. I think it was harsh but fair. I think sometimes people in a group setting, like when things like this happen, people just want to smooth things over, keep the peace.
Yeah.
And so I see how some of the girls are kind of saying, "Oh no, you should have stopped her. It made things awkward. Oh, she was too." I'm like, well, it's Emma's fault. Emma made the decision. She got warned and then she did it. If it was just first time offense and then Sarah came out, guns blazing, then I would say, okay, maybe a little bit overkill. But in this case, I have to say, it was so nice to mentally imagine how it went down with Sarah. If we were in a similar situation, do you think you would step in and stop me at any point? Like, what do you think the sequence would have been? Like, if a girl we're hanging out in group setting and someone's like, oh, me and Em are so close. We're gaming buddies for this and that.
I think I would have reacted similarly to how OP did.
You would have said something?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I would have said something. And I don't think I would have stopped you when you were
On a roll?
given that it happened after the warning.
I have to say, OP and Zara kind of remind me of a dynamic, like a relationship dynamic of golden retriever boyfriend and black cat girlfriend. Do you know what that is?
I mean, I can kind of
Guess it.
guess it based on what you said.
What do you think it is?
I mean, when you say, did you mention what, golden retriever boyfriend?
Yeah.
Kind of seems a guy that says yes. A yes man.
Well, kind of.
To some extent. Maybe associate a golden retriever being a little bit of a negative term as well.
Why?
I don't know, because it seems like for some reason when I think of golden retriever, I think a little dumb and just says yes to everything. Might be wrong there. Might be offending some people who have golden retrievers, but
So, okay. Let me tell you guys something funny. So I love golden retrievers. They're one of my favorite dog breeds. Like they're just so pretty. Like they're cute. They just look like they're smiling all the time. They just look really happy. Like just maybe not much going on happening, but like just there for the vibes type of feeling. Now, golden retriever boyfriend, at least how I interpret it, is usually the boyfriend that's like really cheerful, very happy to be there, very supportive. So I guess in some cases, now that I'm saying it out loud, it could be seen as kind of like dumb but happy vibes a little bit. And then the kind of black cat girlfriend is someone who's like kind of on the opposite end of a little bit more sassy, straight to the point, not afraid to kind of put her foot down, that kind of vibe. So that's a dynamic I'm seeing from them, and I think it's so freaking cute. Oh, OP does have an update. So OP says, hi, so I have no idea how to update, so I'm just going to write it here and hopefully people will read it. I want to thank everyone who told me I wasn't an a-hole and neither was Zaira. I knew we weren't wrong. I just wanted an unbiased opinion. A lot of people seem to think that Zaira is a horrible woman who kicks puppies or something. I said that she can make people cry and everyone just assumed she just regularly goes out and makes people cry. She's made like 3 people cry, 4 if you count Emma, but I'm 100% certain those were crocodile tears. Also, my other friends in the group have decided they want some space from Emma and the other girls. A lot of people said Zaira is trying to isolate me when it is, in fact, the opposite. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even have these friends because I frankly have no interest in making a lot of friends. I also said that I think that Zaira is hot when she gets assertive and stands up for herself. And so many people were acting like I said something so gross and disgusting, which was weird. Like, I'm sorry, I think my fiance is hot. Do you want me to hate her or something? On to the update. We spent the morning reading the comments. It's her day off, and Zaira thinks you're all kind and funny. I've decided I'm just going to put some distance between myself and the girls. I have other friends, so I'll be fine. Plus, we're getting married in November, so I have better things to worry about and look forward to. I actually cannot wait. These 2 months are taking forever. Oh, I just scared Mango with my like excitement inhale. She just flinched. But oh my gosh. If it weren't for the fact that I don't want to snap and break my iPad, I'd be like hitting this harder. But oh my gosh. You guys are so freaking adorable. Ugh, I love love. And seeing adorable couples just make my freaking day. Now, first thing, to address some of the things that OP said in his update. Why do some of these people have, I feel like some people lack the ability to read between the lines or have some level of common sense. when I was reading about this, I'm thinking, okay, Zaria, you kind of get the sense that she's someone who's no nonsense, will speak her mind, but not necessarily an a-hole about it. And I guess some people seem to think, oh, she's just going out and making people cry. I'm like, uh, they probably deserved it if she did. And then OP, some people were finding it weird and disgusting that OP finds her hot. I don't get it. Why? Because she stood up for herself and didn't tolerate disrespect? Yeah, that's hot and attractive in a human being. And especially in his fiance? Come on. I am loving how mature this OP is. Kind of reminds me of the story from, or the couple from, or OP from story 1, I guess, that we just discussed. I love that OP is standing by Zaira, and basically he's prioritizing her and their relationship and who the important people are in his life versus trying to please people that are just acquaintances to him. So they're getting married in 2 months in November. So early congrats, but I hope you guys have a beautiful wedding. Now, first comment from Diminishing Patience. Not the whole Emma said things that were inappropriate. She was told to stop, but didn't. There was nothing funny about what she said. In response to, the girls in my group have been messaging me and saying I should have stopped Zaira. Well, who tried to stop Emma? That's a very good point. If those girls are saying that, oh, that was too much, well then why isn't anyone reining in Emma? Come on. This is such a refreshing story for me. I don't know. I love it. I kind of wish this was our last story because usually I want to end us on a very happy note. But let's see. So now our last story is from the subreddit AITH. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister I don't know if I love her after finding out about her 5-year affair? Ooh, we took a turn for the chaos. OP says, my sister, 32 years old, moved in with me because she got pregnant 5 months ago from what she claimed was a one-night stand. I love my sister, so of course I took her in. My husband is overseas for 6 more months, so it was nice to have her around because I care about her very much. On Monday, I came home and saw my sister and a strange woman in a screaming match on my doorstep. I obviously didn't know what was happening, but I saw the woman poking my pregnant sister's shoulder, so I intervened. I sent my sister inside and she begged me to send the woman away. I didn't understand what was going on, but I wanted the altercation to end for everyone's sake, so I told the woman as much. Then she started screaming, asking me if I was also sleeping with her husband. Then I was like, I'm reacting this way because OP literally just puts 5 question marks in a row. So I assume that's the reaction she's having. OP says, and then she basically revealed that my sister has been having an affair with her husband for 5 years. 5 years. She had everything printed out, chats, photos, emails, receipts. It was disturbing to see, and I didn't want to go through it all. But a few things were established. 1, my sister knew about his wife. She knew she was the mistress and liked it. Oof. My legs are asleep. Hold on, I have to stretch. Oh, they are asleep. Okay. I am all for calling out your sister and her BS, but I don't know whether I'm like slightly impressed, horrified, or a mixture of like just horrified, appalled, and just, I guess, yes, I am a little impressed. So she knew about the affair. She knew she was the mistress. She liked it, and she tolerated all of this for 5 freaking years. Some people have a very odd and unusual approach to relationships. I will never understand this, but this is not a moment where I'm going to say you do you, sister, because this is not it. OP continues. 2, this woman was a stay-at-home mom to their 4 kids, one of whom has a severe disability from a car accident. Oh my gosh, it gets worse. It literally gets worse. 3, her husband knew about my sister's pregnancy and even took her on a baby moon to celebrate it. What on earth is a baby moon? I've heard of honeymoon, but are we now adding different occasions to take holidays for? Because, okay, on one hand, very into creating more holidays. Yes, take days off more, go vacation more often, but not for this. A baby moon? When your wife is at home with 4 kids? 4, the affair has been going on the entire time, with my sister believing he would eventually leave his wife for her. Like, we haven't heard that one. 5, my sister had fully embraced the role of being quote, the other woman and was emotionally invested in the relationship, despite his repeated lies about leaving his wife. I told the woman I was very sorry and that I obviously didn't know, but I asked her to leave because this isn't going anywhere. And I didn't want the neighbors to call the police. She was furious, but gave me her number on a post-it, begging me not to let her husband stay at my house. I assured her that no man was stepping foot in my home. My sister was begging me not to believe the woman, calling her a vindictive ex-wife. I told her, all right then, let's look up the marriage online. Let's see if a motion for dissolution of marriage was ever submitted. We fought hard. My sister kept saying I would never understand and that they loved each other, but he just couldn't leave his wife, blah, blah, blah. I called her dumb and naive. The next day, I told her she could stay here because I didn't want her to become a financial burden on that woman in any way. But I also told her that right now I didn't want to engage with her. My sister asked me if I still loved her, and I told her honestly. Right now, I can't say I do. I will always help my nephew and not endanger her, but I can't like her because she's shown me that she's not a trustworthy person. I told her I didn't trust her not to try anything with my husband, and I didn't trust her with anything at all. So I made her sign a tenants agreement. She's been begging me to forgive her, and I told her there's nothing to forgive. I just don't know who she is anymore. Am I the a-hole? So many raging emotions, so many details. And I was going to say so little time, but 5 years is a heck of a long time to have an affair. I'm flabbergasted. I kind of feel really bad for OP here because imagine you think you're just housing your sister out of the goodness of your heart to be there and support her through her pregnancy. And then this woman shows up on your doorstep. They're having a screaming match. They're saying names. I'm just imagining literally just poking your sister's pregnant belly and you're just sitting there like, what on earth is happening? I just got back from work. I just want to go home, get in bed, put on my Law and Order, relax, maybe have some matcha latte or tea and just sleep. But no, this is what she comes home to. I feel so bad for you, OP. So I appreciate the fact that OP's not blinded by her relationship with her sister and she went to go find the facts. She went digging. She established a few of the kind of bases that we know. Shame on the sister. Oh my gosh. Okay. First off, OP, you are not the a-hole. Your sister is completely the a-hole for bringing this drama and trouble to you in your life and your home. The audacity. Okay, I have an honest question about this. Why do a lot of these affair partners always think that why do the mistresses and the other man, the other woman always think that the husband or wife is going to leave their partner for them? Why? Like, why does this lie work? I don't get it. And you're telling me 5 years she believed this? Oh, I'm going to leave my wife. I'm going to leave my wife. Well, why haven't you? It's not that difficult to go through a divorce. I mean, yes, emotionally, yes, but literally, legally, no. The law does not make it that hard for you to get a divorce. So I'm curious, why do people believe this lie so much? Why does it work? Are people just so in love that they're blind to it? Or are people just that gullible? Does anyone here honestly think that the husband, whom that sister is having an affair with, is going to leave his wife? Okay, let's ask a man's opinion. I'm the only man in our audience. Do you think that it is a lie that he is going to leave his wife for the pregnant sister mistress?
Given that it's been 5 years, it would seem so. By the way, your previous comment about divorce, I don't think that divorce itself, like the act of divorce, is that difficult.
It's the emotional aspect.
Well, not the emotional,
No?
but the consequences of the divorce. Especially if they have kids, property, financials, all of that is.
And they have kids. Okay.
It's the difficult part.
All right. Of separating and doing all that.
Yeah.
I see that. Do you think OP's the a-hole, though, for saying that she doesn't love her sister? Or saying she doesn't know if she loves her sister right now?
Absolutely not. I am glad that she's not clouded by her relationship to her sister, I guess, because they are siblings.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people tend to overlook a lot of bad things that happen or bad behavior because they are
Related.
to each other. I think that is, I guess, kudos to OP that she's able to think as she is thinking.
I'm impressed. I didn't think that she would do it or she would even say that. To admit that out loud and to stand by, I guess, more of a neutral party. I mean, good on OP too, because she also made her sister sign a tenants agreement, which is smart. The sister's relationship may be with this other household, right? But she betrayed OP's trust when she lied. She lied about what the situation was when OP offered her a place to stay because she told her, "Oh, I have a baby. I'm pregnant because of a one night stand, not because of a 5 year long affair in which I'm in a fight with the wife and the husband now." I don't think OP owes it to her sister in any way to make her feel emotionally better about her choices. Now, let's see what the comments say. First comment from Beauty Joy. Not they hold your sister's actions were incredibly hurtful and harmful. It's understandable that you need time to process this and decide whether or not you can rebuild trust with her. Second comment, where was your sister living before she got pregnant? OP doesn't respond, but there's some speculation in the comments whether there's a kept mistress apartment. Apparently, some guys put mistresses up in their work comped apartments and let her use their company car when their family's on the opposite end of the commute. That's crazy. This is a Mad Men type of drama. Now, there is an update to this one. So, update from OP says, first, I'd like to clarify a few things. I'm not going to tell my sister to get rid of the baby. That's not my place, and I would never suggest such a thing. Also, I'm not going to install tracking software on her phone or demand access to all her devices. That's invasive and wrong. I've been thinking a lot, and while I can't say that I don't love my sister, it's very hard to feel that love right now. I don't know who she is anymore. It's not just that she lied to me, it's what she did and how convinced she is that she was justified because they were, quote, in love. She's brought chaos into my home that I opened up to her. I'm deeply disappointed in her, and I just don't like her at the moment. I'm letting her stay with me because I don't want her to become dependent on him. I don't think he's a good man either, and as a social worker, I've seen these scenarios too many times. My sister is already deluded. I don't need to open the door to a dependency that's also financial. Ooh, that's a good point that she brought up. Good on OP because a normal person probably would have booted out the sister, to be honest. But the fact that she's thinking about the wife that she doesn't even know as well, the wife that's suffering from this affair and saying, I don't want my sister to be dependent on this family, both for her, but also for the fact that the wife has 4 kids. Good on her. OP says, now on to the update. I haven't been punishing my sister, but I've been treating her like a roommate. This is driving her crazy. She's begging me to go back to how things were before, but I just can't. I told her that I need time and that things can't just return to normal overnight. She tried to explain how it all happened. She admitted that she always knew he was married, but believed she could tell how unhappy he was and felt he deserved to be happy. They met at a bar a few weeks after his son's accident. He told her that his wife hadn't touched him since it happened and that he was, quote, about to explode. This is a first for me. I have never heard someone use their own son's accident and disability as an excuse to cheat. This is a whole level of effery for me. So tell me this. Poor cheating husband. So after his son has an accident, instead of spending that time trying to work through it with his wife or trying to help his family go through that grief, he grieves alone. He goes to a bar a few weeks after and complains that his wife hasn't touched him and it's about to make him explode. So his son goes into an accident. His biggest beef with the whole situation, what caused him to have an affair was he's thinking down there with his tool. That's his problem. That's the reason for the affair. It's not his fault. He was already about to explode, probably literally, because he's pent up. He wanted some. That's all it is. What a load of he's a piece of he's just full of That's crazy. This is so bizarre to me. All the reasons that we've heard for people cheating. Some people, they just kind of say that they walked into it. Like, oh, things just happen. One thing led to another. As if they had an out-of-body experience and they accidentally fell into bed with someone. And then we have some where they just are very bold about it and own up to it and just no shame. Just shamelessly just goes in and says, yeah, this person's better than my partner. I want them more. No regrets. No regrets. whatever. And then this one is a whole new level, using grief, personal family grief, to say, hey, this horrible thing happened to my son and to my family. But you know what? The worst thing of all is that I haven't had sex. Okay, new low. I have like my respect for the cheating husband was like maybe like down there. Now it's like all the way down to Tartarus, basically. Ah. Also, I OP, no offense, your sister has horrible, horrible taste in men. She's not only deluded, she just has really bad taste. How is this attractive to anyone? Hearing the story, why was her reaction? This poor man, I must help him. In bed. To bed we go. Why was that her reaction? Yeah, I'm getting like secondhand cringe and ick from this. Opie says, I asked her why she would involve herself with a married man, knowing the hurt it would cause. She said she wanted to be a wife and a good mom, and that included his kids. She had hoped he would divorce his wife so they could all move on and finally be happy together. I just stared at her, unable to comprehend how she could rationalize her actions. Does your sister perhaps actually need to seek out help? Like serious help? She sounds like one of those like testimonies that you hear from like crazy stalker women that like who want to like play house and like put people in their place and then like take over someone's like role as a wife and be the mom in the family and be that wife just because their dream identity is to be a wife and mom. Does she think that his kids are just going to be like, oh my gosh, yes, mistress, you are now my mom? Is that the scenario, the happy ending she thinks is going to happen? Are you picking up psycho vibes? I'm totally picking up like over the rocker, off her rocker vibes.
I think a bit. I would say she has to be, but at the same time, I don't understand enough the justification for the whole cheating and being in that type of relationship and justifying it.
You know, I'm kind of scared for OP. I would say, OP, you should be wary of your sister, to be honest, because if she's able to rationalize all of that, because in her picture perfect scenario, what happens to the freaking wife? So the guy's wife, he just divorced her and leaves her out on the street or something, or like she just disappears because she doesn't fit into her happy narrative. I would be nervous because her thinking is telling me that you can't really trust her in your own home. Like, what is she willing to do in your own home? I'd be very nervous. So OP says, a few days later, he appeared at our house, claiming he had left his wife and wanted to be with my sister. I told him to leave immediately or I would call the police. My sister was furious with me, accusing me of ruining her chance at happiness. I made it clear to her, if he comes over again, I will evict her. She's free to date anyone she wants, but not under my roof. I also told her that if she plans to have him around after the baby is born, she'll need to find her own place. Word has gone around our community about the affair. While we were grocery shopping, a woman even spat on my sister. Many of her friends have cut ties with her, calling her a homewrecker. Some are married themselves and don't want her near their husbands. I haven't said I told you so even once. We unexpectedly ran into his wife at a local cafe. My sister wanted to apologize and suggested that maybe they could all have a good relationship for the sake of the kids. The wife laughed coldly and said, you made your choices, now live with them. Don't expect me to make this easier for you. My sister is devastated and has been lying in bed ever since. I'm taking care of her physical needs, making sure she eats, stays hydrated, and attends her prenatal appointments. But I can't bring myself to comfort her emotionally. I just don't have it in me right now. I'm tired. It's not even my house. I'm not OP. It's not my sister, and I'm exhausted. The thing that gets me is that sister is so deluded that she expected the wife to make it easier for her and say, for the sake of the kids, we should all get along. So does she just want wife to just leave by herself and leave her children there with her? Because she said, for the sake of the kids. What kids? You don't even have a relationship with his kids. You just want to boot the wife. Delusion is scary. This is not love. It's delusion. I'm convinced. So first comment from Admiral Pork Loin. That's the username, guys. Very interesting one. Quote, he appeared at our house claiming he had left his wife and wanted to be with my sister. Sure. He left his wife after 5 years. Coincidentally, at the moment she discovered everything. I'm completely sure it's not the wife who dumped him. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't realize that. Maybe wife is going to divorce husband anyway. And maybe he'll be the one that's left out on the streets. And maybe that's why he's now coming crying to the mistress. So OP actually responded, I think the same thing. I agree. The timing is a little bit too convenient. Another comment from Drunk on Red Cordial. They met at a bar a few weeks after his son's accident. He told her that his wife hasn't touched him since it happened and that he was about to explode. Wow, what a catch. Any parent will know the trauma of having to go without sex after one of your kids has been seriously injured. Another comment, this one gets me, from Andrew02020. Imagine getting successfully rizzed up by a I'm about to explode. I told you guys, she has horrible taste. Not only is she deluded, she has horrible morals. I'm talking about the mistress, the sister. And she was rizzed up by, my son had an accident. But you know what the worst thing about all this? I can't get laid. Really? That's what did it for you. That's when you were rizzed up. Mr. Charming turned on. Oh my gosh. I just other than mental health and a home, because the sister's also homeless at this point. She's a mess. What is going on? OP, I am so sorry that you're dealing with this. It's a bucket of crazy bundled in one person. I don't know. And she's about to be a mom. That just sunk in for me. I am scared for her child because she seems honestly off her rocker and horrible decision maker and horrible taste in men. So, yeah, I leave this story with a yeah. What are your thoughts on this?
No comments.
No comments needed. Your sister caught a bomb. That's the catch that she got. It may come as a surprise, or hopefully not a surprise to many of you, that OP was deemed not the a-hole by Redditors, and I have to agree. I don't know. OP, I really hope that you're able to sort yourself out and you don't be tempted to be more lenient with your sister, because right now, all the boundaries you're setting, I think, are really good. It's going to be rough, though, because I have a feeling that your sister is very unlikely to change. I hope for your sake that sister is able to get herself back on her feet. If you guys have advice for OP, leave them in the comments below. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as I have. We got a little bit of a supernatural or somewhat spooky element in the beginning with the astrology and some wholesome moments, and then some really chaotic, crazy on crazy. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And if you did, don't forget to like this episode and hit subscribe. If you're listening to me on Spotify, please rate me 5 stars. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.